committee is now back from recess. We are now on to the second item of our agenda to hear testimony on the executive appointment of Mr. Jason W. Baza to serve as a member of the Guam Banking and Insurance Board. Just an overview of some of the Insurance Board powers. So some of the powers of the board includes they regulate its own procedures and practices in accordance with the AAA or Administrative Adjudication Act, and to implement by regulation that is not inconsistent with law. The board is able to restrict the withdrawal of deposits from all or one or more territorial banks where the board finds extraordinary circumstances, make such restriction necessary for the proper protection of depositors in affected institutions. The board can also order the holder of shares in a territorial bank to refrain from voting said shares on any matter if it finds that such an order is necessary to protect the institution against reckless, incompetent, or careless management, safeguard the funds of depositors, or prevent the willful violation of this title or any laws. The board can also order any person to cease violating a provision, a law, relative to insurance. It could enter into contracts for services with a certified financial examiner in good standing, amongst other things. And it can also affirm and reverse or stay an enforcement order or ruling of the commissioner. And it can also promulgate its rules and regulations. So this is a very powerful board that we're hearing testimony on a nominee today. And we sent notices to Director Daphne Shimizu, Commissioner Santos, who's here. Currently, we have not received any written testimony at this time, but we are here to receive the oral testimony. So I'd like to call upon Commissioner Michelle Santos for her testimony. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator. My testimony is oral, and I will submit written before the 19th. I've known Jason Baza for over 20 years. Although my work experience with him is very limited, I have sat with him in fiscal policy meetings when he represented the director. I found him to be very professional and competent. I believe he would be an asset to our board. I know him as hardworking, focused, and competent. He grew up with my children. He played soccer. I coached him. He has great parents. They're very supportive and caring and outstanding citizens in the community. I find Jason very respectful, humble, easy to work with, never gave me a hard time as his coach. But I think he would be a great asset to our board. Also, I think it would be a good experience for him as an upcoming government employee to know our side of the business, what we do on the Banking and Insurance Board. He would also be working with some prominent citizens in this area, like our banking experts and our insurance experts. So I think he would learn a lot from our division and working with us on the Banking and Insurance Board. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Commissioner Santos, for your testimony. We greatly appreciate it. The next we have on our list is Nemasio Brioni. I think that's the name I see here. Oh, sorry, you're not signed up to speak. Okay, on the next on the list is Mr. Carlson. You're recognized.
Good morning, Senator Perez. It's a pleasure to be here today in full support of the nomination of Mr. Jason Baza to sit on the Banking and Insurance Board. For the record, my name is Lester Carlson. I'm the Director of the Bureau of Budget and Management Research. Jason works for me. Jason has over 10 years of experience, beginning as a BMA 1, Budget Management Analyst 1, worked his way up to a BMA 4, and now is a Budget Management and Supervisor. And his progression has been well-earned, well-deserved. He is certainly, as Commissioner Berdallo said, a man of very, very high integrity. Jason comes before this committee willingly in an effort to promote public service. Jason's work ethic and ability to undertake new programs such as the American Rescue Plan and the eligibility of ARP expenditures is a recent example of how he can get into the batter's box and hit the best curveball thrown at him. I rely on Jason for, as the Bounty paper towel commercial says, he's the quicker picker-upper. Quite honestly, while that's a good analogy, Jason is truly much better than Bounty. I support his nomination, and I'm honored that he was chosen to fill the classified government employee position on this board. I am sure with the guidance of Commissioner Berdallo, her seasoned staff, and the current board members, many of whom I know personally, Jason will be a quick learner, will serve with a high degree of integrity, and assist in the mission of the Insurance and Banking Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carlson, for your testimony today. Now I'd like to recognize the nominee himself, Jason Baza.
Thank you, Senator. Hafaday, Madam Chair, Senator Perez, and to the members of the 37th Guam Legislature, thank you for your attendance today. I'd be remiss if I didn't take the time to thank and acknowledge the Commissioner of the Guam Banking and Insurance Commission, as well as the Director of Bureau of Budget and Management Research, who are here to speak in support of my nomination as the Government of Guam's classified employee representative for the Guam Banking and Insurance Commission. My name is Jason Baza, and this is my first appointment to any Government of Guam board. I'm a graduate of Father Dornis Memorial School, class of 2008, and went on to study at Seattle University, where I earned a bachelor's degree in strategic communications. I am currently a budget and management analyst supervisor for the Bureau of Budget and Management Research, and I've been with the Bureau for the last decade. I have been blessed to be surrounded by the outstanding staff of our department throughout the years, along with our point of contacts from departments that we work with, that have helped me grow into the professional that I am today. As someone who has played sports all my life, I definitely value the concept of teamwork, and I am fortunate to work with such a great team. As a budget and management analyst supervisor, I take pride in being diligent and expeditious with my daily tasks assigned to myself and the analysts under my supervision. These daily tasks include the review of personnel actions, account modifications, establishment of accounts, preparation of fiscal notes, travel authorizations, and the list goes on. The Bureau's review of document submissions entails accuracy and consistent verification to ensure any action being requested is within the guidelines of the Budget Act, Guam Code Annotated, and/or the terms and conditions of a grant award should the account be a federal grant. And most importantly, it is the Bureau's duty to not only ensure that departments maximize the funds appropriated to them to provide essential services to the community, but to also closely monitor department expenditure trends and validate that they will not exceed their authorized spending level in the fiscal year. The duties that I perform at the Bureau provide a complementary correlation to the duties of filling the member position of the Guam Banking and Insurance Commission, particularly in ensuring that action deemed appropriate by the board is in accordance with the Administrative Adjudication Act. It is with great honor to accept this nomination, and should it be the will of this body, I look forward to serving as a member of this board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason, for accepting this nomination. Yeah, I think it does say words, it's telling that you're able to advance in the years that you've been at BBMR from the beginner entry level to supervisor. So it does tell me that you are willing to learn and pick up, and this idea of complacency is not in your vocabulary. And so I think that's really critical when we confirm any new members to a board, especially a board as important as this. It holds a lot of power, and this is a really important industry for Guam. Considering what's happening in the country these days, we hear there are banks that are closing, And so these board members really have to keep an eye on our industry to ensure that the practices that led to these closures is not occurring here. Have you had any opportunity to review what's going on in the States and how it could potentially impact Guam, and what would be your role as a commissioner to ensure that, it doesn't repeat itself here?
Yes, I have had an opportunity to look into the situation in the States. In the case of SVB, what was reported is that they were doing a lot of high-risk, high-reward deposits within their bank, and there were red flags, and they didn't heed the warning of those red flags by the regulatory agencies. And then once interest rates picked up, the value of those investments became of lesser value, which in result caused the bank to close. And then the role of how this would affect Guam is that we have representatives within the banks that control risk, and it's the job of the board to ensure that the risk doesn't exceed any potential gain. It would avoid any high-risk transactions, high-risk opportunities.
Well, I appreciate that response. You're not even confirmed yet. But yeah, we do look for members that are critical and keep an open eye on what's going on out there and how we can better protect the industry. Do you see yourself as having any conflicts of interest?
No, I do not. My only financial income is my employment with the government of Guam.
And would this participation on the commission affect your role in BBMR?
It should not, no. I should be able to attend every meeting. I'm a man that's able to juggle tasks with efficiency, and I'm someone that once I commit to something, I'm all in with the commitment.
Okay, great. Yeah, because you are serving, the position you serve on the board is a classified employee of the government of Guam representative. And so what do you see as your contribution to this board?
I see my contribution as being the government of Guam's voice in the actions taken by the board. As my role as a budget and management analyst supervisor, the nature of our job is to ensure that public finances are spent accordingly, and this translates very well with the role of being the classified government of Guam member on this board.
Well, thank you, Jason. It's great to see young faces, and not only just young faces, but very critically minded individuals that we need to nurture in their roles, in their leadership roles. So we do appreciate your accepting this nomination. I guess if there are no others to testify at this time, your confirmation hearing is duly heard. But we will continue to receive written testimony until 4 p.m., May 19th, 2023. Please address all testimony to Senator Sabina Flores Perez, Chairperson of the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor Procurement, Statistics, Research, and Planning. It can be dropped off at the mailboxes here, the Guam Congress Building, or emailed to office@senatorperez.org. The committee will now take a 5-minute recess. Zumasi.
Thank you, Senator.